Hey everybody, it's Comic Crack, and this evening we are coming to you from the beautiful downstairs basement in the Comic Crack mansion. We've had some company for the past week. Special sexy lady friend's dad was here, and we put him up down here, so we kind of cleaned up and organized some of the furniture that we have down here. And the way that it went actually works really, really well. So we've kind of left it set up. So as much as it's not much to look at, like where you can't see, I sort of have a little corner that I can hang out in my old sofa and table, and got my comics down here, so I have a place to sit. And Cave Evil poster up on the wall there too. That video is coming right away. Mr. Tom and I played Cave Evil. We, special sexy lady friend, did our makeup for it, and we filmed a bit of a video of a gameplay. We filmed a lot of stuff. I just haven't had a moment to sit down and go through all the footage and start editing something together, but so that it has been filmed, and it was quite a bit of fun, and it's a great game, and she did a fantastic job on the makeup. So once I kind of get a chance to do that, I'll edit something together and put that up so you can take a look at the game. And but that stuff that's coming up. Today is the night after seeing the Hateful Eight, so I wanted to discuss that a little bit. I shot this once and I had some problems with some of the equipment, so I'm going to do it again, and hopefully I can streamline some of my thoughts a little better now that I've sort of said it out loud to the camera. We went last night to see the Hateful Eight, and I guess a good place to start is a little bit of history of my life with Tarantino movies. I've seen, except for Reservoir Dogs, I've seen every Tarantino movie in the theater. I'm a huge fan of his movies. I really like them. There's some that I like more than others, and there's ones that I'm not too crazy about. For example, Jackie Brown is a movie of his that I'm not as crazy about. Kill Bill, the 1 and 2 are movies that I love. I love those two. Death Proof, I love Death Proof. Inglourious Bastards is somewhere in the middle. There was parts I absolutely loved, and there was parts that I just thought were okay. So it's not that I think that he's this genius that everything he does is gold. I'm very critical of everything that I do, in case you haven't noticed. Any sort of entertainment I'm critical of, especially when it's something that I'm spending my time and money on. And sometimes the money isn't even the thing, it's the time that I'm spending that's more of the thing. It's like, if I've felt like I've wasted 2 hours or 3 hours, it's like, fuck, I could have been doing something else I enjoy for 2 or 3 hours, and instead I had to sit through and listen to that crap, you know? So I'm very critical of everything, and that extends to even filmmakers that I love. Now, just to kind of touch on the point of why I think Jackie Brown didn't work for me, for example, there's a lot of other stuff tied up with Tarantino movies. I think it's inevitable, whether you know it or not, or whether you've seen the films that he's referencing or not. It's just a reality that his world, as this film geek, as this passionate nerd, when it comes to exploitation cinema especially, and 70s and 80s movies, it's undeniable. You can't... Does that mean that you as a viewer have to know that world as well? Absolutely fucking not. No, he knows way more than any of us will ever know about every single detail about these movies. You don't have to know that shit too. You can still go and, I think, really enjoy them. And that's proven by a lot of people that I know who aren't as much of a fan of exploitation films as I am, for example, which is a fraction of what Tarantino is, and they still love the movies. For me, though, that's part of my enjoyment for going to see his movies. So for a film like Jackie Brown, I've never been a huge blaxploitation fan at all. Um, Sorry, if you see me looking down, I'm just checking the mic because it was the mic that failed me for some reason. It powered down 3 minutes into the video. I've never been a big fan of blaxploitation movies. I've seen a few of them. I haven't seen a ton of them. I've seen some Pam Grier movies that I loved, but and I think that's partially why that Jackie Brown didn't resonate with me as much, because not that I don't know the references, it's just that I'm not as crazy about that world. So a movie that kind of takes some cues from that era and that world isn't necessarily going to work for me. A film like Kill Bill, I'm a big fan of Japanese cinema, especially the more B movie, C movie, D movie, exploitation type movies that they did, or samurai movies, or women in prison films, or horror movies. I'm a much bigger fan of that stuff. So Kill Bill 1 and 2 really worked for me because I could see where he was taking some references from. I love Sonny Chiba movies. I saw Sonny Chiba in a movie and his name up on the screen. It's incredible. I heard Miko Kaji singing her song that she's kind of, to me, known for, and probably to a lot of people, from Female Convict Scorpion, Jailhouse 41, one of the movies of the Female Convict Scorpion series. And the Asian character in Kill Bill was based on another Miko Kaji series of films, Lady Snowblood. So there's all these little things that bring it all together for me. And I think that's unavoidable when I go to see them. I know enough about the worlds that I'm going to bring some of that with me, and I don't call it baggage. I just call it, that's my experience with that type of era. And for myself, I think it adds to it. I enjoy the films even more, and maybe in a bit of a different way. As everybody enjoys things in different ways, that's just the way that I enjoy it. I like seeing that sort of thing. So that brings me around to the Hateful Eight. The movie that it was kind of, or a movie, probably not the, because I'm sure there was a million, well, I know that there was a few of them. One of the movies that he said that he loved was John Carpenter's The Thing. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It's a fantastic movie. It has some amazing special effects. It's a really great story. It's a great movie. Absolutely great movie. He took a lot of influence from that when it comes to kind of the paranoia in Hateful Eight. There was a movie, an Italian movie from I think 71 or 72, I can't quite remember, called The Cutthroats 9, that he also took some reference from. Cutthroats 9 was a movie filled with criminals and it was filled with people that weren't heroes. And at every turn, when you thought somebody was going to be a hero, they either die or they turn out to be real pieces of shit. And it's a great movie. It's really entertaining. I started watching it again last night just to kind of cleanse myself from the Hateful Eight experience, and we'll get more to that in a minute. I'll just quickly say I'm going to try not to do a million spoilers, but I know for sure that there's some that I won't be able to avoid because it's part of the reason I have my thoughts about the movie. So if you don't want spoilers, it's probably best to just not watch any further, because from here on out, let's just say that it's going to be spoiler city. So you get this. Cutthroats 9 is one that I'm familiar with quite a bit, as is The Thing. Cutthroats 9, most of it takes place out in the wilderness, in this bleak, desolate, snow-filled landscape, with a bunch of criminals that are on a chain gang, and they're chained up together. Their stagecoach has been robbed or held up because it was mistaken as a gold run. They found out that there was no gold, which is discovered later on as part of the story. Stagecoach gets run off. The horses just run wild, and it crashes, and these guys now have to survive in this wilderness. And it's great stuff. It's really great stuff. Violent and gritty, and like I said, they're scumbags. They're scumbags. So bringing that, this is stuff that I'm bringing with me to the Hateful Eight. Another thing that's brought with me is Ennio Morricone did the score for Hateful Eight. The older I get, he's one of those guys, I've mentioned it before, there's some people, I think when you get into a particular style of art or something, there's always names attached to particular things, whether it's music or comics, or in this case, soundtrack music to movies, where there's going to be some names that are attached with that genre as like, oh, this is a high point within this world of that particular art. Here's some names that are high watermarks. Morricone is one of them. And if you don't know his name, you 100% know his music. For sure you do if you've watched any Clint Eastwood spaghetti western. If you have even the smallest, even if you've only seen like Fistful of Dollars or Good, Bad, and the Ugly, you know Morricone's music. When you think spaghetti westerns, which are, the term just comes from westerns that were filmed in Italy, and they called them spaghetti westerns. You think of Morricone. When you think of that sound of a spaghetti western, you're thinking Ennio Morricone. And he's one of those guys that, I enjoyed enough at the beginning, but the older I get and the more I'm exposed to his music, not only in the Western genre, but all sorts of genres, the more I realize the guy really was, or is rather, the guy really is absolutely incredible. The music that he creates and the moods that he creates are amazing. From giallos, from like these Italian crime movies, to his westerns and to his kind of epics, it's amazingly beautiful work. So I was excited about that as well. That also leads into something that I think Tarantino does very well within his films, is because he knows the history of the particular films that he's into, that he's a fan of, he also knows the technical world, and he also is really good at bringing those people and using that experience of the people who have been in the industry their whole lives. Take Death Proof, for example, another really enjoyable film for me. I loved it. I liked it in the shorter version, though, the Grindhouse Theater release version. He hires Zoe Bell, who's a stunt woman, because he wants to do practical stunts, and part of the stunts he wants to do is her strapped to the hood of a car being chased by another guy in a car. He does a car movie because he wants to hire a stunt team filled with these old timers to drive these other cars for like there's one particular scene, or maybe a couple of small scenes, where there's other vehicles on the road, and it's filled with these stunt drivers that have been working their whole lives. And these are not young fellas. They're like in their 50s and 60s. And I love that idea of doing that. I love that he brings back some of these actors. In Django, Franco Nero, the original Django from the Westerns, plays a character in the movie that Jamie Foxx is talking to, and he's talking about the spelling of his name, saying the D is silent. The guy he's talking to is Franco Nero, the guy who played the first Django in the very first Django movie. To Morricone, to everything that he does, it just seems like he utilizes that experience of a seasoned film crew in all sorts of departments. And I really admire that. I think that in so many areas, and maybe this is also coming from my personal experience in film, in our film community here, a lot of old timers, or a lot of the older guys, get pushed out by newer blood because newer blood is easier to manipulate. So a lot of that skill, even in our department alone, over the past 5 years, we've lost a lot of guys who have quit the business. And that's a lot of experience that's gone right out the door that you now can't draw on. And you're left to kind of relearn it. So I really admire the fact that Tarantino acknowledges not only the skill of every single small department, but also wants to, in some ways, cherry pick like this cream of the crop in some movies that he really loved. This was the stunt driver in this movie, and I remember that scene that he drove, and da da da. And now I've got him in my fucking movie. It's amazing, and the way Tarantino gets excited about everything. So that's a big part of it for me as well. Now, the way that this movie was sold was the big thing that was sold about this movie was talk of this aspect ratio, talk of these specific lenses that he was going to get, lenses that were used to make Lawrence of Arabia. And by that, I don't mean it's the brand that was used to make Lawrence of Arabia. Apparently, these were the exact lenses that made Lawrence of Arabia, that shot it, and he specifically requested them. He outfitted 20 or 24 theaters in, I think, just the States. I don't think anywhere in Canada. I don't think Toronto or Vancouver, but I could be wrong about that. Outfitted them with projectors and hired these old-time projectionists to man the projectors because they had the experience and making sure that things didn't catch on fire, and because apparently they're really difficult to work with. So going to all these lengths to kind of talk about, hey, I'm going to use this format that hasn't been used in X number of years, and even when it was used, it was only used about 6 times because of how difficult it was and everything else that comes with that. And I'm going to show it in select theaters on the actual projector, and you're going to be able to sit and see the actual print of the movie. You're not going to see like a DVD or a web streamed version of it or whatever the fuck they do nowadays. Obviously a bit sarcastic. All of that sold, and with my knowledge of everything else, was really excited, and a couple of friends of mine were as well. We went with another couple and another friend of mine, and they work in film, I work in film, my wife works in film, so there's a lot of that for all of us, this excitement of, especially for us technicians, wow, I can't believe it's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see these exterior shots, and oh my God, it's going to be amazing. I'm glad we're seeing it in the theater. 90% of the fucking movie takes place in a goddamn stagecoach or in a goddamn building. And right there, I bring this point up first because it's the first thing that all of us said to each other when the credits rolled and the lights came on. What the fuck? He used all this stuff to shoot something that he could have shot, or he probably shot, on a soundstage, on a set that was built. It's disappointing. So that's just kind of like a head-scratching, what the fuck are you even thinking about, disappointing thing. So that's kind of it's a strike against it already. When it was used, when people weren't just flapping their jaws in a stagecoach for minutes and minutes and minutes on end, when it was used and when you could see the landscapes with these lenses and you could hear Morricone's music matched with it, and seeing the horses running across the snowy, hilly, mountainous woods area, it was fantastic. It looked beautiful, looked really, really great. Those things were fantastic, but they were few and far between, unfortunately. So that's a first strike for sure. You've got a pretty great cast. Sam Jackson, of course, Kurt Russell, Michael Madsen, Bruce Dern, and then, of course, like Tim Roth, and, of course, Jennifer Jason Leigh, who, for my money, Jennifer Jason Leigh was the most impressive as far as everybody was, for sure. And it's one of the conversations that we also had amongst us, that people were more caricatures as opposed to embodying a character. But I think that's something that always happens in his movies. I don't quite agree with that point being like a negative. His movies are filled with caricatures. And strange actors and that sort of thing, but I don't disagree that there was something lacking from their performances for sure, and I can't put my finger on it. Probably the amount of fucking dialogue they had to say. But Jennifer Jason Leigh really stood out. I thought she did a great job with her snide little comments, and her speech near the end was amazing. Her the impediment that she had on her speech, just from the piece that she had in her mouth to kind of show these grisly looking teeth, and how that affected her talking, I thought was incredible as well. And she just kind of built on that, sitting there covered in blood most of the movie, like pretty amazing for sure. And Michael Madsen is another one that stood out, and he stood out more as like, he just gets a bit stranger as he gets older, and I love that about him. And his gravelly voice, and him always fixing his hair in the middle of a scene and stuff, I love it. I love that guy. He's such a great dude. But he was definitely channeling some Marlon Brando in this one. And the way he always looks sideways at the camera, and I mean, forget about it. Michael Madsen is unreal. So those were good moments, but those moments were unfortunately few and far between, because there was so much dialogue and there was so much setup. When they were in the stagecoach early on, let's talk about maybe the first half hour of the movie or so. I might have to pause soon just to restart the camera because it'll shut off. It was kind of there was a lot of, okay, just give it a chance. It's going to be fine. He's just doing this setup. Yeah, they're talking. It seems a little awkward and a little, the dialogue even just seemed off, like very, oh, so who are you and what do you represent and what is your world? And I understand there has to be a bunch of that. It seemed a little clunky though. But I just kept thinking, don't worry about it. It's going to pick up. There's going to be something. Something's going to happen. Some moment is going to kind of accelerate this story. And I thought that through the first half hour, and then I thought that through the second half hour. Then I thought that through the third half hour, and the fourth, and the fifth. I mean, the other side of this is that it's almost a 3-hour movie, and I just can't for the life of me figure out why. Did he really think that every single moment was really, really important to the story? I don't know. Obviously he did, because he wrote it and he put it in there and he filmed it and he edited it, and here it is. But Jesus Christ, man. It just never hit that moment, and that's another thing we ended up talking about at the end, was there was never that, oh fuck, here we go, here's that moment, here's that turn, or here's going to be that twist, or here's that thing that's going to happen, and to kind of drive this into something that's going to turn it. Death Proof, I loved Death Proof. I liked all the dialogue through it, because again, I think because of the relationship I have with the filmmaking as a business, that I could relate to some of that dialogue. But even with that, there was a moment where the whole thing turned and it became this chase movie and this movie about these cars, and it had a moment where all of a sudden it just shifted and you could feel it, and it got really exciting, and the end was incredible when Kurt Russell's getting the shit kicked out of him by these women. It was me and my buddy that went. By that point we were hammered in the theater and we just stood up and cheered because it was just such a great ending. This one didn't have any of those moments. It just didn't have that moment of like getting you amped up, or for us it didn't anyway. So that's a huge problem. And there's this whole thing that's made. I mean, it even says in the credits, the 8th movie by Quentin Tarantino. Apparently he said that he is only going to make 10 movies in his career, and when asked why you would limit yourself, his response, or a Cliff's Notes version of his response, was that he feels that there's too many directors out there that go on for far too long, and then they make a bunch of crappy movies, and then their career ends, or they die, or whatever it is. He figures that, his thought is that if I know that I only have 2 movies left to make, I'm going to make damn sure those are the best movies I've ever made in my life. I'll offer you this, because he only has 2 movies left to make, My worry is, after seeing this, my worry is that he's going to think that I've only got 2 movies left to make. I better cram every last fucking thing I've got in my head into these 2 movies. And we're going to have, by the time the 10th movie comes, it's going to be 5 fucking hours long with guys sitting in a coffee shop talking absolute bullshit. And that's something that I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he doesn't end his career on that kind of note. I hope that if he does stick with this 10 movie thing, that I hope that he can step back from it and realize that I don't have to cram every idea in because these are the last 2 movies, so I've got to get all of this out of me. I hope that he can take a bit of distance. And I'm wondering if that's something that happened here, because early on, the script got leaked, and what he does, he said it himself, is he writes from every character's perspective, and then he kind of figures out what's what and how he's going to piece everything together. It got leaked. He said, that's it. It wasn't even a finished script. It was only a draft of a draft of a draft. I can't believe it's leaked. I'm not doing this movie. And apparently Sam Jackson convinced him to do it, and you've got to do this movie, and you've got to just forget about that shit and just keep writing, and kind of gave him a nudge. And so I wonder if that kind of jarring stop had something to do with him just getting all this out and doing it all. I just don't know. I just don't really know what he was trying to do with this one. There's the awkward edit. So at the end of the day, it was disappointing. Did I sit and while I was watching the movie and hate every single moment of it? Absolutely not. I enjoyed it, but it was on this kind of level of enjoyment. It was just kind of just moving along with it and sort of just waiting for something to happen. So I didn't love it, but I didn't despise it. Would I see it again? I don't know. Will I buy it for my collection? Probably, because I own every other Tarantino movie. So probably, yes, I'll probably still buy it. Should you rush out and make sure that you see it in the theater? If you want. Is it necessary to see those kind of 15 or 20 minutes where they are kind of showing you the scope of what these lenses could do, seeing this countryside as beautiful as it is? Sure, yeah, I guess if you want to see that stuff. I just don't know if it's necessary to see it in the theater. If you missed it, it wouldn't be the end of the day. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Yeah, I mean, what am I going to do? I don't do ratings very well or whatever, but like I said, it was just disappointing. And it's not because I expected more. I did expect more, but I'm not let down by that fact. There is a letdown element to it for sure, but because I know what I'm getting into with him, and I know that it's going to be something that maybe is not going to blow my mind. I feel like I can distance that letdown and just look at it as a film and just go, meh, what did it show me? What did it tell me? It was, again, a bunch of guys saying the N-word and doing this and some violence, and yeah, it was just kind of a letdown. It was just disappointing to some degree, I guess. I am using that word, so yeah, maybe it was disappointing. And it's unfortunate because it could have been something, and and that's the thing with it as well, I don't even know if editing it could have really helped it. I don't know if it would have just alleviated a bit of the pain, maybe, with, oh my God, now they're doing this guy's story, and oh my God, yes, nail the fucking door shut, and yes, you got to use 2 boards, and it's not even really that funny, like it was maybe intended to be. That would have alleviated some of that, but I don't know if it would have helped the story, because at the end of the day, there wasn't really anything there. I like the idea of presenting a movie filled with characters that are flawed. They're not as flawed, maybe, as some of the characters in the Hateful Eight. It's hard to say, because even that has its kind of caricature moments in it where, yeah, they're bad guys, but it's not like it's a very visceral, like, oh, it's like seething hatred of these guys. It's just the idea is there that, listen, we're dealing with criminals, we're dealing with people who have done bad stuff. And it's the same with this, but as one of the characters says, oh, you're going to pawn it off to the war is hell argument, are you? And that's sort of what it came off as. It sort of came off as like this war is hell and we all did shitty things. And although when there was a couple of shitty human being moments, they were pretty shitty. Sam Jackson telling the old man about what he did to his son was a particularly shitty type of story just to get him to draw on him so he could shoot him. The actors weren't utilized that well. The actors didn't seem to embrace their characters that much. It really felt like they were just presenting this dialogue, and they were sort of, even themselves were a bit distanced from it. So it's a sad thing. The thing that I did find out though was that Kurt Russell was also in a movie called Bone Tomahawk that came out last year as well, and that's next on my list to see. Actually, I've got a chance to see it, so that'll be the next one to see. I've watched a trailer. If you don't know it, just search for Bone Tomahawk trailer and give that a look. That should be really interesting. That looks pretty good. Another kind of Western. And then the other one that I'm pretty excited about is with Leonardo DiCaprio, The Revenant, that if you haven't seen that trailer, you must see that trailer. And that's still in the theater. And I haven't seen it yet, but a couple of friends of mine have, and have really stressed that that's a movie to go to see in the theater. That's something that has some substance to it. So maybe that's my recommendation. Instead of seeing The Hateful Eight, see The Revenant. And if I'm not sure when this Bone Tomahawk came out, but if it's still in the theater, even if it's in a second run theater in your town, go to see that and maybe wait for Hateful Eight. That's it. Thanks very much for sticking with me through this babbling. Just in time, there goes some loud noises. Thanks very much, and we'll talk to you real soon. And next time you see me, it'll be a version that's even further in the past than the one you're watching right now, and we'll have a look at some Cave Evil. Thanks.